of government schools, 10th and 12th standard students in government schools. ஸோ அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஸோ இன்று வந்து திரு ராகுல் அல்வால் சார் ஒரு எஸ்எஸ்பி டிராஃபிக் மற்றும் சைபர் கிரைம், அவங்க வந்து ஒரு ஐபிஎஸ் ஆஃபீஸர். அவங்க வந்து யூபிஎஸ்சி சிவில் சர்வீஸ் பற்றி நம்ம கிட்ட எல்லாருக்கிட்ட பேச போகிறாரு. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், கடந்த சனிக்கிழமை நம்ம ஒரு ஓரியன்டேஷன் பண்ணோம். அன்னைக்கு வந்து டெய்லர் அப்புறம் நானும் பேசினோம். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு வந்து 2 பேர் பேச போகிறாரு. ராகுல் அல்வால் சார் பேசுகிறாரு, அதுக்கப்புறம் திரு அமன் சர்மா பேச போகிறாரு. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து அவங்க எப்படி சிவில் சர்வீஸ் பற்றி விளக்கம் கொடுத்துட்டு அவங்க எப்படி ப்ரிப்பேர் ஆனாரு, அவங்க எப்படி முயற்சி பண்ணாருன்றத பற்றி பேசுகிறாரு. ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சார் வில் பி ஸ்பீக்கிங் அபவுட் how he approached civil services, what was his strategy, how he prepared and how he succeeded and all. So later Thiru Aman Sharma also will be speaking on this. So I once again welcome Rahul Alwal sir on behalf of the Directorate of School Education for this interaction. So சார் பேசின பிறகு ஏதாவது உங்களுக்கு கேள்வி இருந்தால் சாட் பாக்ஸில் டைப் பண்ணலாம், இல்லை நான் மியூட் பண்ணி பேசலாம். So if any queries are there, the children can speak to him by unmuting, or they can type in chat box. Now I request Rahul Alwal sir to take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. First of all, good morning to everyone. So last time, as you know, we have interacted on the traffic awareness. So this time I want to tell you more about how to what are the different things are about civil services. I mean, how to tackle them and what are the paper pattern. I hope all you people are interested. That's why you have joined in here, because UPSC is one of the career options. I mean, so it will be, if you are really motivated for it, then this will be a good start. So let's start without wasting time. I will just go through because I have asked what kind of questions you have. Thankful to the organizers. They have helped me in one of few questions which you guys are really interested in. So first I thought I should tell you about the UPSC pattern. How are the exams, what is the different kind of exams they do, mainly about the civil examinations, and what is the pattern, how about prelims, mains, and interview. So just I will share the notification. So guys, can you see this notification? Okay. So now I will just run through this notifications just to get an idea. I mean, what to do. So basically, you can download this notification from the UPSC website. That is upsc.gov.in. If you want to go through it, it's like a very lengthy document. It's about more than I would say. So more than 162 pages are there. So most of this pages are related to the optional syllabus and GS syllabus. So I'll just run through it. So basically, everyone who is above the age of 21 are above, and till 32 of age. So these all people are eligible for writing civil services. And every year the notification comes in the month of January and February. So and you are given a time limit of maybe 2 months so that you can give your applications. So usually how are the cases? There are about 24 services into this. I mean, the most prominent and most preferred one is Indian Administrative Service and Foreign Service, Police Service. So it's a personal preference. I mean, it need not mean that if you get a good rank, you have to take only the IAS or only IFS, nothing like that. So you will be asked your preference also. Like, so in this 24 services, which one do you prefer? Okay, so that services preferences also will be asked to you. So there are about 24 services. The number of vacancies varies year by year. In the last year, it was about 796 vacancies. So it changes, either it can increase or decrease. So as you can see, these are all the services. I mean, just a short of them. I mean, if I want to read it out, I'll read top few. Indian Administrative Service, IAS, Indian Foreign Service, IFS, Indian Police Service, IPS, Indian P&T Accounts and Finance Service, then Indian Audit and Account Service, Indian Revenue Service, Customs and Central Excise, Indian Defense Account Service, Indian Revenue Service IT. So you can go through the whole list. There are like 24 services. Apart from that, I'll just go to the, yeah, there are different centers where you can give the examinations. There are different centers for prelims and also for different centers for mains also. Now the exams will be in 3 stages. One is the preliminary, which is objective type. Second one is mains examination, which includes both written and interview. So there are 2 parts, I mean, in prelims and mains, but in the mains there are again 2 parts, which is written and interview. So we will discuss each one of them. Now eligibility, you are all eligible, so you don't need too much worry about that part. Age limit, as I told you, age limit of 21 years or 21 years and not more than 32 years of age. Okay, and the upper age limit can be relaxed in few cases if the candidate belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, and up to a maximum of 3 years for the people belonging to OBC. So suppose you are in a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, you are eligibility till you are 37 years of age, 32 plus 5. And if you are in OBC, then your eligibility is still 35, 32 plus 3. There are other eligibility criteria also, I mean like relaxation criteria, which we need not discuss right now. Minimum educational qualification is a graduation from any degree recognized university. Okay, so any BTech, BCom or any kind of any graduation in any bachelor's is eligible for this. So you have to clear your graduation, and then you can on the final year you can give the examination. And from starting from final year, even though you not got the degree, in the final year when you're expecting a degree to come, by the time the results are declared, so that time also you can take. You need not have a degree in your hand. So for that relaxation is that the 4th year, part of a final year is there. From there you can give your exams. Number of attempts also fixed. The number of attempts which can be given are restricted to 6 attempts only for open category. And if at all the person belongs to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, there is no number of attempts, no restriction on number of attempts. Okay. And if at all the person is belonging to the other OBC category, then he will be eligible for 9 attempts. So from if you start writing from 21, you have got about 11 attempts in an open category, 21 to 32. But actually that is restricted to 6 attempts only. So you can write 6 times the exam. And in this, I would like to clarify, even if you what is declared as attempt. Now attempt will be something which is when you write the prelims examination, so that is considered as an attempt. Now suppose you have given the application for writing examination, for writing the prelims is the first stage of examination. So it is multiple choice questions. So there if you have given an exam, apply for the exam, but suppose you could not go to the exam, and then it will not be considered as attempt. But if you go to the exam, sit in the exam, then it will be considered as an attempt. See, an attempt at the preliminary examination shall be deemed as an attempt as a civil service examination, as I told you. Now, then we will go to fees. Now, fees is very nominal. It's about 100 rupees for all the people except for SC, ST, and female people. So, females and SC, ST persons, and also with persons with benchmark disabilities. Okay, disabilities like blind, deaf, dumb. So, these kind of disabilities, if somebody having, especially able, so for them it is free of cost, and for other people it is 100 rupees. It can be online paid. It's not a big deal right nowadays. So online you can apply. It is upsconline.nic.in. From this website you can apply your examination. Then a plan of examination, civil services preliminary examination, objective type, and mains examination. As I told you, written and interview will be there. So in the preliminary examination, it consists of 2 papers. One is and both are objective, multiple choice questions. So they carry a maximum marks of 400. Okay, there are 2 papers, so each one will have 200 marks each. So but the caveat here is in the two subjects, one is the general studies and another one is aptitude, civil service aptitude test. So in this, the second paper, civil service aptitude test, is only for qualifying. You have to get 33% of the total marks. If you get it, you are qualified. It is only qualifying exam. You will not clearing of prelims will not be assessed based on the marks of CSAT examination. That means suppose and it only based on the general studies. Now general studies is 200 and you have a CSAT of 200, right? So now suppose cutoff of this examination is based on preliminary on the GS. So now now suppose cutoff is 100 marks for prelims. So that means they will see whether if you got 99 marks in general studies, then you will be disqualified. Now suppose if you get 101 marks, then you will be qualified for prelims, provided you get at least 66 marks in CSAT. That is 33% of the CSAT, because it is 200 marks. So in CSAT you have to get at least 66 marks. So you will be like getting, if you get about 65 marks, suppose 60 marks you got in CSAT and you got 101 marks in general studies of prelims, then you will not be qualified. You have to qualify the CSAT and get marks above the cutoff in general studies. So I hope I'm clear here. If you have any doubts, you can ask me again. There will be negative marking, so there will be 4 alternatives for each question, and the correct alternative will fetch you 2 marks, and the negative alternative will get 1/3 of the marks will be deducted. That is about 66.66 marks. So now mains consists of total 9 papers. Okay, in that 2 will be qualifying in nature. That is your English. One will become mandatory, will be English, and another will be any local language. You can choose whatever local language you want. In your case, you can have Tamil or Telugu or Malayali if you are like different parts of the regions, or you can have other languages also. There's no restriction on the regional language. Any one regional language, but these are qualifying in nature. You have to get 25% of the marks there, and that is a 3 hours question. So all the exams are 3 hours question papers. 3 hours examination duration is there. Now the first 2 are qualifying. So English and local language. The rest 7 are the one which actually carries the marks towards your rank. So the first 2 marks, you have to just qualify, pass. Just like your 10th exam, you just pass it, right? So it doesn't matter how much you get, more or less. I mean, provided if the aim is to just pass, if somebody has to tell you pass, means it has to be just above the cutoff. Now suppose you are aiming for a good rank. Now in that case, the rest of the papers matter a lot, because those marks will be added to your ranking list in the final list. So those 7 papers I will go through. I'll just so preliminary I discussed with you, 33% in the second paper, as I told you. The mains, now you have part A, paper A, like qualifying papers. What is Indian language? 300 marks, but you have to just qualify English, 300 marks. Now again, as I told you, now rest of the papers, like paper 1 will be essay. Essay will be consisting of 2 questions. You have to write 2 essays in which you will be having choices. Like you will be given 5 choices in each section, and you will be asked to take one of the question, one of the choice, and one of the, like suppose suppose you will have a topic like election is a celebration of democracy. Now suppose that is a very vague like one general essay statement which are given, like very small statement they'll give you, and then like they will tell you educating of a female child is the most like what you call, for full literacy of India, we have to ensure female literacy, suppose that kind of thing. So then you have to tell about the pros and cons of it, and what all and also what all difficulties they had. Suppose for example, pros and cons can happen because there might be some topic which is very dicey. So now what the 2 things which I told you was very positive note. So you have to take it in a positive note. There will be only pros. Now, suppose it is a very dicey situation, uh, like India's response towards Syria's unrest is pretty what to call it is pretty secluded or something, or like they're distancing themselves. So something like that, if the topic is there, so that you can balance it out, like saying what the India strategy should be. So it involve any kind of statements. It need not involve only positive or only negative. It can involve both also. So you have to tell with the historical and the also your analysis perspective how to how do you justify your opinion. There will be two questions. They'll be giving five like choices in this. One you can check. One you can take and write an essay about it. Another will be general studies. General studies, you will have like these all chapters will be there, Indian heritage and all. Then again, general studies 2, governance, constitution, polity, social justice. So all this syllabus are available in the notification only. And again, general studies paper 3 will be technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security and disaster management. This is a new subject which is added in paper 4, which is ethics, integrity and aptitude. That is more or less they will test your decision making skills in case of any kind of, suppose you are kept in a situation where it's very ethically dilemma is there. Like for example, there is a family which can't afford its daily wages. Okay, hardly they can get 200 per day, and they're not able to meet their ends, and they're not able to eat at least proper 2 meal or at least 3 meal a day. They're not able to. The family of 5, and 200 per day is very less. Now, in that case, will you allow child labor? I mean, because as a child labor is banned, so will you allow in that cases? So these kind of what you call ethical dilemma questions they will try to post before you, and see if you are a district collector yourself, or the district superintendent of police yourself. So how will you take a decision in that situation? So they will just test that kind of things. Then you have an optional subject. We have one optional. We have to take one optional. There will be a lot of list of options are there. So we'll discuss that also. Then in the real 2 papers will be there. Paper 1, paper 2 of the same optional subject, but paper 1 will be more of theoretical things like any theories, any kind of what do you call subjective related things. I mean to say concept related things in paper 1, and paper 2 usually will be application part of it. So, but the same optional subject. And then after that, if this all written everything, if you add it up, it will be about 1750 marks. Each paper is 250 marks, as you can see here. Each paper is 250 marks, and if you add them, it will be 1750 marks. Now, then after that, we will have, after qualifying the written exam, then you will have a personality test, which is have 275 marks. So if you add it total, 2025 marks. And based on your marks in this total list, you will be ranked accordingly. So I think I have covered. So you can what about languages? Now you can exam the medium of the literature. Okay, the languages can be based on this different languages. Okay, you can have a lot of languages are there where you can use as an optional subject, and the list of other optional subjects are. These are all are there, like agriculture, animal husbandry, anthropology, botany, chemistry, civil engineering. So a lot of things are there. About, I mean, how many? 26 optional subjects. No, 25, and including literature of all these subjects. So you got I mean, easily more than 40 optional subjects. So you can choose any one of them. I think this is also syllabus of the preliminary examination. What is syllabus? So these are so you can go through. It's very lengthy, so you can just go. And comprehension, how will, like the CCSAT. So what are the syllabus for that? And again, your mains examination. So mains, like paper 1 mains, like general studies mains 1, Indian agriculture, Indian culture, modern history, and so a lot of things are there. So overall, I thought I should tell you before we start anything. This is a basic introduction of this. I hope this has been, Rudra sir, I hope this has been not been told before. I could not check it up because the questions asked to me were related to this only, syllabus and all. So I hope that I have not wasted any time of them. Rudra sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I think that they have not got an introduction on the syllabus, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is a good introduction for you for the syllabus. I think now you know what a UPSC exam is like, right? So apart from this, I would like to go ahead and tell you in general how to prepare this. I'll just close this. Yeah. So guys, you got to know about overall how how this exam pattern is. Now I would like to tell you what you need to do at this point of time. I'm not going to tell you exactly because I have hardly got 5 minutes more. So I will not tell you as such if you are a preparing student right now, because that will be too early for you, in my opinion. So because the preparation usually starts in your graduation time, or maybe in the time when you are when you had the fourth stage, or like a fourth year, final year of your preparation, final year of your graduation. Only usually at that point of time you usually start preparing for. But for now, what you can do, like now you are in 9th, now you are in 10th, 11th, 12th. I think that is what the like class group which you are addressing right now. So if you are in that class, so what you need to do right now, in my opinion, the best place to start is your newspapers. So go ahead and read newspapers, preferably Hindu, so that you will get to know a deep analysis of what all policies the government of India is taking, what are the background problems which we have, basic problems with respect to education, with respect to health, with respect to literacy and skill development and all. So you can get a good idea about what's happening. At the same time, you will increase your vocabulary, because English is also much needed if you want to use English as your medium of communication in UPSC. So you will have a good grasp on English and understanding of the basic problems, and also understand the debate around various policies which they do. So that will be good start for you. Each day have a mandatorily read the newspaper and understand it. That is much more important. If you have doubts, go and ask your social teacher, and ask your any other interested faculty who will be interested to help you out in this. So first of all, read newspapers every day. Get that in mind, first of all. Second thing is your basics are really important. What you study now will be asked in UPSC. So it might sound it might seem you like a little bit strange, but what you have been taught right now in different subjects, okay, be it social sciences, be it in science or in other sciences. So these are the basic questions. So UPSC has always been asking basic questions and contemporary questions. That's what I could see. So if you have a good grasp on that, and that is the reason why usually the first attempt people get into IAS and get into top ranks. So go to your basics, read your subjects well, whatever having right now, because end up when you start preparing, you will be going back to the same books. So read them well, and have a good thorough grasp of it. It should be in such a way that you remember each one of it, bit of it very well. So that will be the best start for you. Apart from that, if you want, you can go through the whole syllabus of different optionals and make a vague opinion of what optional you're gonna take. So if you are interested in some specific subject and all, you can start reading about it, watching videos about it. So don't take it as such very seriously of making notes or something like that for civil service right now. I mean, right now at this stage, you should be in a comfortable position where you understand this whole examination and go step by step. Right now, your target is your 10th examinations or your 12th examinations, and also like in case of 12th, your what do you call your entrance examinations. Those are your prime targets right now. So concentrate on them. In the background, maybe every day, maybe half an hour, if you can spend on newspapers or reading something which is of general knowledge, so that will help you long way in the civil service preparation. So, and this is what my crux is. If you have any questions, please ask me. I think I have answered all the questions. I'll just read the questions which you have asked. I have told most of the answer to most of the questions. What kind of answers fetch more marks? I mean, so any kind of marks right now, how we are getting more marks? If you answer to the question, then you will get more marks. Problem is interpreting the question. That is a main problem because we don't get much time in reading and understanding the question. So if you can answer directly to the point of the question rather than hitting around the bush or rather than writing lengthy answers, if you write bullet wise answers, but precise to what the examiner has asked you, based on that you'll get the marks. What is interview? I have told you about things. Okay, interview, I can just tell you 275 marks, and there will be a panel of interviewers. One person will be a member of UPSC, and he will be taking he will be testing your personality as such. He will not be testing your what you call your knowledge as such, but your general interest in things around you. So that will be asked there. How many months of current affairs should be covered in prelims 2020? Right now, there is nothing like that. I mean, like, you don't have to worry about right now, but in general, for any prelims examination, there is nothing quite standard where how many years, but maybe maybe last 1 year will be a good place to start, where because after the previous notification, there's a new fresh notification just come after 1 year. So the previous 1 year will be the most relevant one. But if some event is linked to the last 1 year current affairs, that also should be taken into consideration. How to memorize historical terms? No, memorization, again, it is same as the technique which you use right now. Repetition is the only key. Revision and repetition. So you make your revision, as you make your revision notes, you do a monthly, a weekly revision. How you do it? The same way you have to prepare in civil services also. Make your own notes. Handwritten notes is the best way to remember things. And write only those which are you feel are important and where you can have a difficulty in remembering. That way, repetition is only key in that. So have a short notes also if you can. Have in one A4 sheet paper. Write everything in a small font or small. Okay, so small you write and keep it in your pocket. Whenever you are free, you can go through that paper and you can only keywords, no sentences, only keywords, so that will trigger those particular concepts for you, and you will be able to write well in the examination. Which subject will given priority? Subjects are already told. There's nothing like any priority. Every concept in the syllabus is important in that way. Coaching class are necessary? No, I don't think so. Coaching class are really necessary unless and until you're taking an optional which is completely new to you. Otherwise, for general studies, there is no need of any kind of coaching as such, in my opinion. Coachings are useful only for one reason, in my opinion, for getting good colleagues who can have the same mindset, because that you really find in a general, like in a normal setup where you are preparing on your own. So circle is very important for you. So like-minded people. So I don't think UPSC needs any kind of specialized coaching. I didn't take I didn't take any personal coaching. My optional didn't have any coaching. My optional was statistics. It didn't have any coaching centers. In general studies, I didn't take any general studies coaching. So I want to study engineering course. What subject I have to choose to clear UPSC examination? Don't worry about choosing subjects at this point of time. You just go ahead with your engineering. As time progress, you will be getting interested in one subject or the other, because right now you don't have any exposure to any one of the optionals except few optionals like geography and other subjects which you're already tackling right now. So don't worry about choosing optional right now. If you are go through each one of it as much as possible. What kind of physical training one has to undergo for IPS training? For IPS training, is very exhaustive physical training, but for preparation there is nothing required. You have to just write as a normal any other person. For during training, it will be a challenging one. Physically, it will be challenging. You will be taken to different hikes, different obstacle courses you have to do, and physically it is tiring. So not a problem. Everyone does it. So it will be trained, and the good trainers will be there, where they will ensure that you don't get into any injury, and complete all the course. How to balance my school learning to fit with the aspiration of qualifying UPSC. See, every day I think you need only half an hour of time. I think you can squeeze it up in your travel to school or in your just before going to bed. Only thing you need to do at this point of time is is to read everyday newspaper and watch some videos on any topic which you are interested in. Be it in your like some history, learning about all the Mughal emperors were. I mean, there are a lot of videos available right now. So any kind of topic, like maybe you want to learn about Himalayas and the different landforms and all, you go ahead and see some videos or learn some articles, read some articles. So that will be the major focus right now. Don't get yourself overburdened with that, with learning more things daily, half an hour. I'm very poor in my English. Will it affect my chances of passing UPSC exam? In that regard, I'll tell you there are many people who are not so good in English and still are in IAS services. So and also in IPS. So don't worry. Base your in one of the local language which you're having right now. There is no bar in. There is nothing like English is a mandatory language in this. So don't worry about it. But if you can improve upon your English, you have got ample time right now. So you at least got at least 4 years. You got 4 to 6 years. You got for writing your prelims and civil service examination. So 4 is an ample time. So build your, because I'll tell you my case. I was not fluent in English till the time I went into my graduation years. So only in my graduation I got fluent in English. Before that I was not at all fluent in English. So is you still have got enough time, so you can work on it. Not an issue. I think I try to squeeze in as much as possible. So if you have any questions, please. Children, you can, if you want to ask anything, what kind of physical training? Okay, I just answered that. The question was, what kind of physical training one has to undergo for IPS training? I just answered that. So, any other question? I hope you guys have understood. If you have not understood any part of it, not an issue. Please put down that message to your faculty. I will be happy to answer that, and I will send it across through your faculty to you. So don't hesitate in asking. What's an important thing for UPSC preparation is, if you don't understand anything, you should ask. That is important part of anywhere in your life. If you don't understand, you should ask. It is better to err on the side of asking than on the side of believing that you know it and you're ridiculing yourself in front of others. Okay, that is the most embarrassing part. So in preparation, any kind of preparation, if you don't understand anything, you should ask. So if you really didn't understand any part of it, please drop a message anytime to me. That is not an issue. One more question is, sir, how many hours do we have to study per day to train ourselves? To be frank, there is no standard as such. I mean, it is all about your tasks you have set for yourself. See, there are n number of days which I had where I sat for like maybe 12 hours or 14 hours a day, where I could only went through only two papers of my handwritten notes, suppose. Okay, or at the whole day I must have done only 2 papers. That, I mean, so that doesn't matter how many hours. So that is not a quantifiable. That is not actually a parameter where you should be working upon. So every day in the beginning of the day, you should set yourself a target. Okay, my target is I'm gonna complete this particular like some 30 pages of my notes, or maybe I will reading this 2 chapters of this book. So that should be your target for the day. Before you open, like get up in the morning, like maybe in the night itself, you can write yourself what will be your target next day, and then go ahead and do that. If you do it early, enjoy the rest of the day, treat yourself. And if you're not able to do it, then push yourself a little more so that you can complete it. So have realistic targets and go ahead and work on it. There is nothing like number of hours of preparation. So just keep that in mind. is there any preference for Tamil? Is there any preference for Tamil? Is the one of the language in school level and college? I didn't get that, but I could, and I feel that you are asking whether Tamil can be taken as one of the languages. I mean, I feel that there is no, as I told you, there is no bar in taking any languages, any language. If you are having a difficulty in speaking English, you can have it translated to you in interview also. So not a problem. You can, there are, the essence of this examination is to catch hold of talent at the grassroots level. So no one should be made victim just because he's not able to speak a particular language. The examination is testing your qualities of an officer, your interest in your what is happening around you. Okay, how well you are able to assess the situation and take decisions. So this is what the examination is testing. So in any aspect, it is not making you a victim of something which you don't know, which is not particularly required for being a civil servant. So language is not a concern. Again, I'm telling you, if you are comfortable in Tamil, you can what do you call speak in Tamil and give interviews also. But for writing purposes, there is an issue. You have to write in like a few languages only. Aman, I think we can't write what do you call GS in Tamil, right? I don't know. I mean, I think only English or Hindi.
You can write, sir.
We can write in Tamil also, right? Okay. Okay, then. Yeah, then writing part also it is clarified by Aman now. So write any exam except for the qualifying English exam, which is the 25% qualification. So at least for the English exam, any other exam you can write in Tamil also. So not a problem. But you recommend see right now I would say go to good magazines are there, competitive refresher magazines, so this kind of magazines are there. So I think the schools should be taking interest in getting those weekly magazines, and also go for monthly magazines like competitive refresher, and also you can go for this Yojana and Kurukshetra books. So right now your focus should be on getting a whole holistic view of a general view of what's happening around you, like the schemes with respect to the various problems India is facing, international affairs. So I think there are very good what to call magazines are there. I think schools will be able to easily afford those things monthly and weekly. So like Kurukshetra, Yojana, and competitive refresher. So I think these are enough, and there are other books also, other things also, but I think it depends on the personal taste. Okay, I think we have taken enough time. So thank you for your questions. If you have any issues also, as I told you, just consult your faculty and ask them to message me. I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.
So thanks a lot for a nice informative session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So there is no preference for PG, MPhil and PhD. It's basically a degree. So once it is eligibility only. So nobody bothers about your degree and all. It is the selection is based on marks secured in written examination plus interview. So no preference will be given to your PG or MPhil and PhD. So that is the most of us are having that problem. The more we study, we think that we are becoming more intelligent. It is not necessary. So we are becoming literate, need not be educated, and maybe illiterate people also may be educated. So we need not confuse literacy with education. So now I request Thiru Aman Sharma to take over.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate Education Department for taking this initiative. And secondly, I would like to thank you also for inviting me as one of the resource persons to orient our school students. So now I would like directly like to communicate with my young aspiring minds. So very good morning to all the students who are today here to attend this orientation lecture for preparation of UPSC exam. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Aman Sharma, Pondicherry Civil Services Officer of 2015 batch, and presently I am working in capacity of regional administrator of Mahe. So you all are aware Mahe is one of the 4 regions of Puducherry, and in my capacity of regional administrator Mahe, I am looking after overall administration of Mahe region. And apart from being regional administrator, I am also functioning as deputy collector, plus I am sub-divisional magistrate, plus I am deputy commissioner excise for Mahe region, and also I am head of the office of all the major departments in Mahe. Along with that, I am also working as chairman of Vidyalaya management committees of Kendriya Vidyalaya as well as Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. So specifically or intentionally, I have given a little bit wide introduction of the kind of responsibilities which I am presently undertaking in Mahe, just to gather your attention towards the scope which civil services provide you. Okay, so taking forward this lecture, I would just like to set the agenda for next 30 minutes. During next 30 minutes, first of all, since you all are quite young and there are still some 4 to 5 years ahead of you when you will ultimately be appearing in civil service exam, if you think and ultimately take decision in that direction. So my lecture will be first focusing on why we should join civil services. Secondly, I will tell you broadly how we can join civil services. And thirdly, I will tell you what we have to do beginning from now to join civil services.
Aman, can you just keep the mic little closer? Audio is low.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's okay.
Yeah.
So starting with the first point or first agenda point, why I should join civil services. I will just quote 2 or 3 interesting examples. I hope that will be enough to arouse your curiosity and to keep you motivated to join civil services. Recently, all of you must have seen we are passing through the phase of coronavirus pandemic. If we go few months back in the history, especially in the months of April, May and June, during these 2 to 3 months period, the entire country was in lockdown state. Correct? So there was lockdown, and during lockdown, all the people were basically instructed and directed to stay indoors. So all of us were in our houses, locked in our houses and following the instructions of administration. Correct? So the entire country was following the instruction of administration. And what do you mean by means? Civil servants. So you just understand the importance of administration. So administrations are nothing but a group of officials who are taking decision in the overall public interest. So if some of you end up becoming civil servant, you will become the part of administration, and then it will be your responsibility to manage these type of natural disasters, these type of pandemics. So you can very well understand the kind of important role which you all will play if you become the part of administration by clearing civil services examination. No other service, no other business will provide you the kind of opportunity which a civil servant gets during his career. This is one example, coronavirus pandemic. Second example I give you. Recently, Nivar cyclone hit Pondicherry and Karaikal. Again, instructions were issued by administration that everybody should stay indoors. While all of us were indoors, administration was working outside. Fishermen are shifted to safe places. proper and adequate arrangements are made for their food and transportation, and their boats and everything are secured. With this example, you can again realize that during critical times, it is administration which is playing the important role to make public safe and secure. Correct? Then I give you one more example. You all are studying in schools, right? In schools, you have principal. In schools, you have your local management committee. But if you become an administrator, then you will hold the post like director of education, like Rudra sir is presently holding. At that time, all the schools will be under you, and you will take decisions how to run the schools properly in entire Pondicherry or in whichever state you are posted. So just imagine the kind of responsibility and the kind of scope if you will get if you join civil services. And apart from the kind of work which you will be doing, the kind of responsibility which you will be sharing, apart from that, you will get the extra benefit that you will have a secure career, you will get a good remuneration, plus you will get a good social recognition. People will respect you, people will respect your family only because you are a civil servant. But apart from being a civil servant, if you are doing a good duty to society, society will additionally respect you. They will come and they will tell, sir, that we are happy that being in your position, you solved my this problem, you solved my that problem, and that thing will give you immense satisfaction. So a secure career, a good remuneration, a good recognition from society, high social status, plus different types of roles which you can do while in civil services. All these things make civil service a very attractive career, and I hope many of you will opt in coming future to become civil servant, whether it is IAS, whether it is IPS, whether it is Indian Revenue Services or Pondicherry Civil Services, based upon the rank which you are scoring in civil service examination. I hope most of you will give your services to the nation in the capacity of civil servant. After having discussed briefly about why civil services, now I would like to shift how you can join civil services. So just few minutes ago, Rahul sir has given you detailed information regarding civil services examination which is conducted by UPSC every year. So every year Union Public Service Commission is organizing civil services exam. In civil services exam, there are 24 different services, including all India services like IAS and IPS, and remaining services are central services which you can join after clearing this exam. This exam has 3 different stages. First stage is preliminary exam, second stage is mains exam, and third stage is interview. Preliminary exam is only a qualifying exam which makes you eligible for mains exam. Then in mains exam, you will be asked to write some 9 different papers. Based upon clearing those 9 different papers, you become eligible for interview. And finally, while appearing in interview and after securing marks in interview, they will join the marks of main exam and interview exam. One merit list will be prepared. Depending upon the merit list, you will finally clear the exam, and depending upon the rank which you are securing in the final list, you will be allotted a service. Topmost service, or topmost rank people will get Indian Administrative Service, then you have Indian Foreign Service, Indian Police Service, Indian Revenue Services, and the last list will follow. It depends upon what rank you are getting, and it also depends upon what preference you are giving for selection of different services. Sir has already told you, in preliminary exam there will be two papers. One paper will be of general studies, GS, and second paper will be of aptitude. In mains exam, there will be 4 papers on general studies. There will be 2 papers on optional subject which one candidate is choosing. There will be 1 paper on essay writing. So together these are 7 papers. 4 general studies paper, then 2 papers on optional subject, 4 plus 2, 6, 1 essay writing. These are the 7 papers. Apart from those, there will be 2 language papers. One language is in English compulsorily. We all have to appear in English paper exam. And then we can select one regional language or Hindi. That is another language paper. So the language paper, English and the regional language which you are choosing, these two are only qualifying exam. You have to score some minimum marks in these exams. Apart from that, the remaining 7 papers, 4 GS papers, 2 optional and 1 essay, whatever marks you are scoring, those marks will contribute to your final rank and final merit. Okay? So those people whose combined marks in these 7 papers are highest, they will be selected for interview. Interview will again be of around 275 marks. Whatever marks you are scoring in interview plus the marks which you are scoring in 7 papers of main exam, combinedly they will constitute your final merit. So now what I will do, instead of going again into the details of the scheme of the exam, because exam is still 5 to 7 years away from you, I will just come and focus what you can do as school students to prepare for the civil services exam, which you will be facing after a period of approximately 3 to 5 years. So, first of all, to be eligible for civil services exam, you need to be a graduate. And that graduate can be on any stream. You can be an engineering graduate, you can be an MBBS graduate, you can be a law graduate, or you can be a graduate in any arts subject also. So first of all the school students need to ensure that if you want to become a civil servant, we need to continue our studies beyond schools also. We need to take admissions in colleges and we have to finish our graduation also. So we should continue to work hard in our schools and try and aim to get good graduation degrees. This is first thing. Second thing, anybody, whether he is an engineering graduate, medical science graduate, law graduate, or any other arts graduate, these same subjects are available as optional subject in civil services. So if somebody is a mechanical engineer, he can opt as mechanical engineering as an optional subject in civil services. If somebody is a doctor, he can opt MBBS as an optional subject in civil services. If somebody is a law graduate, he can opt as law subject in civil services. If somebody is a commerce graduate, he can opt commerce as an optional subject in civil services. If somebody is an arts graduate, he can take geography, he can take history, he can take public administration as optional subject. It means whatever strength you are having, you can fight this exam based upon your strength. Correct? So if you people feel that ultimately I want to make a career in civil services, then school is a good opportunity where you should try to identify what is your strength. If somebody's strength is technical, then you should work hard during your school days and try to get admission into some engineering degree. If somebody feels I have a study in biology, and plus I have a technical mind also, you can definitely opt for your degree in MBBS, or if you are not qualifying for MBBS, you can make a degree in nursing also. It hardly matters. If some of you feel, no, I have an interest in arts, there is no problem in that. You pursue a career in arts. So whatever is your strength, whatever is your interest during school days, try to identify your strength and try to identify your interest. Based upon that, you pursue your graduation. This is my first request and my first advice to all of you. Identify your interest. Second thing is, what as a school student we can do to prepare for the exam. So this exam basically tests 2 or 3 type of things. First of all, this exam tests your general awareness. It tests how much are you aware about your environment, how much are you aware about the general happenings which is taking place in our everyday life. Secondly, these exams test your communication skills, and communication skills include both how you can speak and how you can write. This is second thing. And third thing, this exam tests your patience, tests your perseverance. So if you want to prepare for civil service exam, we should start working on these 3 things from right now. We should start becoming aware about our environment and about happenings in our everyday life. Secondly, we should start working on our communication skills, which includes communication, speaking communication, as well as writing communication. And third thing, we should develop patience and perseverance, because if our goals are bigger goals may sometimes take more time, more patience, and more hard work to achieve. So we should be ready for that also. Now I will come to the first point, how this exam is testing your general awareness and general knowledge and knowledge about your everyday work. If you go to general studies, if you go to preliminary exam, in preliminary exam, there is one paper on general studies. That paper is of 200 marks. In that general studies paper, they will ask you questions about current affairs. They will ask you questions about geography. They will ask you questions about history. They will ask you questions about economy. They will ask you questions about polity. They will ask you questions about science and technology. They will ask you questions about international relations. If you look, all these subjects basically cater to what things are happening in our nearby environment. I take one example. Recently, there is one ongoing dispute taking place between India and China on our border. So what UPSC will do? UPSC will ask you, what do you understand by LAC? LAC is basically line of actual control, which is a border between India and China. So there is one current event which is happening, that is a border dispute between India and China. UPSC will make a question out of this current happening, and that question will come in your general awareness paper in preliminary exam. Similarly, one more example. Recently, Nivar cyclone came in Puducherry. So UPSC will ask a question in preliminary exam. What do you understand by Nivar? And there will be multiple choices. Is it a cyclone? It is a river? It is a mountain? Or it is some other phenomena? So if you are aware, if you are reading your newspapers, if you are just listening through news reports and news magazines, you can easily identify that Nivar is a cyclone. Correct. Similarly, we are about to complete 75 years of our independence. We have an Indian national movement. Gandhiji led that movement. Subhash Chandra Bose was there. So many national leaders was there. So as country is completing its 75 years of independence, UPSC will formulate some question on our Indian national movement, and that question will come in your preliminary exam. So whatever is happening in your day-to-day life, we have to remain aware about that. For that purpose, as Rahul sir told you, you should continue to read newspapers regularly. You should listen to news which are coming on TV, and you should use internet if you are using, just to keep yourself updated. And my personal suggestion to all of you is, kindly develop the habit of reading newspaper. When I was of your age, I was not reading newspaper because I was not aware that I have to make a career in civil service. And even if I was aware, I was not aware that newspaper reading was that much important. So I request you, kindly start developing the habit of reading newspaper. Even you start with reading the headlines. In beginning, that is enough, but kindly start reading a newspaper and make it a daily habit. Then I tell you one interesting thing. You people may be reading NCERT books in your schools. When you will start preparing for UPSC exam, everybody will say, read NCERT books for geography, read NCERT books for history, read NCERT books for economy and polity. So I request all of you, whatever NCERT books which you are reading right now, read them properly, read them with understanding, and read them with a thing that you are remembering those facts and understanding those facts, because those things will only make a strong foundation for you, and these all things will be helpful after 3 to 4 years when you are appearing in civil service exam. Okay, so while you are reading in your school, you are not only preparing for your school exam, at the same time you are also preparing for civil service exam. So read your NCERT books properly and also keep your NCERT books with you. Don't give to your friends after your class is getting over, or don't sell them to a kabadi wala. Keep all your NCERT books with you, because same books will be very helpful to you when you will finally start a serious preparation for your exam. Okay, so for general studies, for preliminary exam, your general awareness is very much important. Kindly improve your general awareness, and general awareness can be improved by reading newspapers regularly, by watching news regularly on television, by reading magazines, and by browsing of internet. But my father, when I was in my school days, my father gave me a daily assignment. He told me that you should read the newspaper daily, and out of that newspaper, 5 most important news which you find, just note the headline in your diary. Basically, he was trying to develop the habit of reading newspaper into me, but I never took his guidance and I never followed that thing. But once I started preparing for civil service exam, I realized the importance of his guidance at that time. So I will request all of you, if you are reading newspaper, you can make one notebook and you can just note down 5 most important headlines which you have read on that day. Because if you are writing something in your own hand, you will remember that thing. Simply reading a newspaper, you will forget. But the same thing, if you are noting down, it will help you to memorize the things also. This is first thing. So develop your general knowledge. Read your history, polity, economy, geography, science also. General science which you are studying, there will be questions on general science in civil service exam. And the level of the questions will be of 9th standard, 10th standard, 11th standard. So kindly, whatever you are studying everything in the school as if you are preparing for civil service. Second important thing I would like to pinpoint here itself, in pre-exam, apart from one GS paper, there is one paper on aptitude also. That aptitude paper contains some questions on English language. That aptitude paper will contain some questions on mathematics. That aptitude paper will contain some questions on reasoning. So I know there were some students who don't like mathematics. They are fearful of mathematics. But I request you, if you want to make a career in civil service, basic mathematics you should be aware of, and you should also take interest in basic mathematics. Don't run away from mathematics. Okay. Secondly, some of us have a problem with English language also. Try to develop certain basic skills in English. Although to clear UPSC exam, English is not a mandatory. You can opt regional language. You can write in regional language also. There is no problem. But in civil services preliminary exam, there will be some questions which are specifically in English language. So basic understanding and basic art in English language is necessary. So kindly have a little bit hold on basic mathematics and kindly develop certain basic skills in English. Don't run away from mathematics and English now. And apart from coming into service also, English language will be very much helpful, because now we are not working inside a country. The entire world is connected. We are living in a global world, and global language is English language. So as and when you are joining several services, English language will be helpful there also. So kindly develop your skills in writing English and kindly develop your skills in speaking English. Debate among yourself, discuss among yourself, and try to communicate in English language. Then coming next to, so I told you, civil services exam checks your general knowledge and it checks your communication. In pre-exam, they will check mainly your factual knowledge. But when we comes to main exam, same general awareness questions will be there, but the questions will be analytical. So like I give you an example. Recently budget came. Finance Minister of India gave budget. In budget, they gave many different type of new schemes. They gave the idea that we will privatize some government companies. So what they will do in mains exam, only these questions will come, but they will simply ask what are the benefits of privatizing a government company? What are the negative effects of privatizing a government company? So, what we have to do, since exam is still 3 to 5 years away from you, so if you start preparing the topics from right now, they may not be useful at that time. But what we have to do, we have to start developing an approach. And what is that approach? That whatever issue is coming in newspaper, whatever issue is coming in everyday life, we should try to develop an analytical approach. We should try to understand what is good things about this particular thing and what are negative aspects about this particular thing. Recently, coronavirus came. So coronavirus brought many negative changes into our lives, but it also brought many positive changes into our life. Similarly, whatever you are observing in your daily life, there will be many positives and there will be many negatives. So everything which you are observing, try to see its positive aspects and try to see its negative aspects. Start developing that kind of approach. If you are developing that kind of approach, that is the kind of approach which UPSC is looking in a civil service aspirant, and that is the kind of approach which a government servant should have. He should be able to see both sides of the coin. Only then he will be able to take a decision. Okay. Then for mains exam, this analytical approach is needed. Try to go through both sides of each and every issue. Second thing, mains exam, test your writing skills. Every paper will be of 3 hours, and in 3 hours, you will be asked to write 3000 words. So that paper is very much lengthy. So to complete that exam itself, it is a big task. You should start preparing to write that much things from right now. 2-3 things you focus upon. First of all, you all should try to increase your writing speed. This you can do from right now itself, because you also are appearing in various exams. So try to increase your handwriting speed, which you can do from right now. Secondly, try to improve your handwriting. My handwriting was very poor. During school days, I never gave importance to my handwriting. But later on, while appearing for civil service exam, I realized if my handwriting is good, my presentation is good, my marks will improve in civil services. Okay. So try to improve your handwriting and try to improve your writing speed also. And thirdly, improve your language. If you want to appear in English, improve your English writing skills. If you want to appear later on in Tamil, Malayalam or Telugu, then improve your Tamil, Malayalam and Telugu writing skills. Because improving writing skills takes time. You should start developing those skills from right on. Correct? Practice these things while you are writing in your school notebook. Practice these things while you are appearing in your school exams. These things will be very much beneficial in the years to come. And in schools also, whatever answers you are writing, your geography teacher may be saying, your science teacher may be saying, along with answer, include a diagram. Okay, in science, you are drawing diagrams also. So that same thing will be helpful in UPSC also. Simple answer writing, including one diagram, it improves your representation. So you develop this skill. There are many candidates who clear the UPSC exam in first attempt. The main reason is for past 3-4 years, they are working on their general awareness and second thing, their writing skills are very good. Their handwriting is good, their presentation is good, and their grammar and language skill is very good. Kindly start working on that from right now. Correct? And then third thing I told you, you should also work upon your speaking language, because interview is all about speaking. Like I am speaking to you continuously in a slow pace, you are able to understand me. Same thing is required in interview also. They will ask you questions. So I told you earlier, UPSC needs an analytical approach, positive and negative things of all the issues. Interview also, they will ask you such questions which has positive aspect also as well as negative aspect also. So your mind should be analytical and your language, speaking language should be good. You can appear in interview in English language. You can appear in interview in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, whichever language you want. But whichever language you are taking, your language should be good. You should have command over your language. And sometimes interview panel insists that you talk in English only. So you should have little bit command over English speaking. Also, I am again saying very good English is not required to clear the exam, but basic skills in English writing and English speaking should be there. Without this, clearing the exam with good rank becomes difficult. Correct? So, these are the broad things which I wanted to highlight. Third thing is, first thing I told, general awareness. Second thing I told, communication skills. And third thing I told, patience and perseverance. Civil service exam takes time because syllabus is large. We have to cover many things. If you are preparing from the school time, then there are very high chances you may clear the exam in first attempt. But sometimes it may happen that you may clear the exam in first attempt and you are not getting good rank. Then you may not get a service of your preference. Then what you will do? You can appear in the exam next year also. It is not like a 10th class exam or 11th class exam. You can appear in the exam next year also, even if you qualify the exam in first attempt. So you may appear in the exam next time. Next time again you are giving exam and your rank is not good. Then what you will do? You will appear in the exam third year. So it is a long process. And if we want to clear some long process, then what we should have? We should have patience and we should have ability to work hard for a long period. So kindly develop that type of attitude. Don't run away from hard work. Work hard in whatever work you are doing in school. If you are playing a sport, work hard to get excellence in the sport. If you are good at drawing, work hard to improve your skills further. If you are good at studies, work hard to improve that thing. For civil services, hard work is very much important. Hard work should be combined with smart work. And once you are entering into civil services exam, be prepared. It may take some years and multiple number of attempts to clear the exam. I myself cleared the exam in my 4th attempt. Okay. So it may take multiple number of attempts to clear the exam, but if you are preparing from this stage, if your guidance is good, and if you are able to develop your analytical approach right now, if you are able to develop your skills right now, then I think you can clear the exams in lesser number of attempts. So rest of the things Rahul sir has already shared with you. I have taken a broader perspective of the exam since you people are still away from the exams for around 3 to 5 years. And I will also request you take your graduation seriously, because after reaching to your graduation, you can decide my interest is in this subject. So if you are going with your subject of graduation as your optional subject, prepare that subject properly while you are in your graduation stages. Okay? And real and sincere preparation for the exam, you can start just 1 year before you have decided to appear in the exam. 21 years is the minimum age required to appear in the exam. So once you are in the last year of your college, you can start preparing seriously, and the remaining 3-4 years, whichever you are having, develop your communication, develop your writing skills, start debating, start taking interest in national and international issues, and whatever competitions are happening at the school level, some debate competition, some essay writing competition, some slogan writing competitions. Take interest in these activities. These things will help you to develop your personality, develop a positive attitude towards real life problems. All these things will help you to mature yourself as a civil service aspirant. The soon you mature your personality, greater will be the chances to clear the exam in lesser time and lesser number of attempts. So these are the things which I wanted to share with you. Actually, I myself worked for 2 years as a teacher for civil service aspirants. I gave coaching to civil service aspirants also. The same thing I used to tell them when I was giving coaching to them. And I make you clear, if you are having proper guidance to some seniors, to some senior officials, there is no need for coaching. You can prepare your own. People from villages and rural areas are preparing their own, clearing the exam. So it is not that coaching is mandatory. Guidance should be proper. That is the most important thing. So I think I have already exhausted the time which was allotted to me. I am open to any questions. If anybody of you are having any questions, I would like to answer. One question is asked, sir, can you tell us any trusted source to know the current affairs? Because medias provide various controversial news. If you have interest in reading, I tell you 2 to 3 sources. First of all, since you are still in your student age, read whatever you can read. Whether it is correct or incorrect, right now you just develop the habit of reading. But as far as reliable source is concerned, you go with newspaper. Select one national newspaper and one local newspaper. National newspaper like Hindu, which covers national and international news, and one local newspaper you can select. Some Tamil newspaper, Malayalam newspaper or Telugu newspaper that will keep you aware about happenings in your state. That is first thing. Second thing, there is one website, Press Information Bureau, PIB. That is Government of India website. So it is the authentic source of information regarding all the government schemes. So that you can follow. Plus there are some good magazines like Frontline. It is in English. So that magazine you can follow. Then some Government of India publications like Yojana magazine is there. But I still feel you people are too young to go into that type of magazines. So I will request you start with newspaper. Start with one local newspaper. Once you develop the interest in newspaper reading, you add one more newspaper. Just give half hour and 1 hour to newspaper. I assure you, for 6 months, if you are reading a newspaper continuously, your entire personality will change. You will become so much confident and you will have that much knowledge that if anybody is talking to you, you will have information to talk on each and every topic which is discussed in front of you. I will also request our teachers who are here, kindly encourage our students for a newspaper reading. I remember during my school days in assembly session, one student will come on stage and he will read the important news of that particular day. So this thing was happening at the level of the school. Maybe in our classes also, in each class, each student can be given a responsibility that tomorrow you bring 5 important headlines of that morning. In that way, they will develop the habit of reading newspaper. So start newspapers. That is the most important source. Then Rajya Sabha TV and Lok Sabha TV. If you want to go with television news, Rajya Sabha TV and Lok Sabha TV, they have good debates and their information is also authentic. This local cable TV channels, you cannot rely on their news. So newspaper, Rajya Sabha TV, Lok Sabha TV for authentic news, and Press Information Bureau website you can follow because it is a Government of India website. Any other question? Acha, one question is there. Sir, is there any mark discrimination for IAS and IPS selection, or it depends upon the choice of the candidates? I told you the service which you get will depend upon the marks which you are scoring plus your preference. Generally, the first preference of all the candidates is IAS exam. Sorry, IAS service. So the topmost rank holders will get IAS. Then after IAS, people will prefer for IPS. So once the 180 seats for IAS are exhausted, then the next set of people will get starting IPS. But if somebody is having highest marks and he opt for IPS, then instead of IAS, he can get IPS also. It depends upon your marks and preference. If your marks are less and you go for IAS, you will not get IAS. Okay? Vacant seat should be there. So generally, the people with highest marks, they get IAS. But if somebody is having a preference for IPS and his marks are also high, then he can get IPS also. There is one question. Only newspapers and our textbooks are enough, or we have to refer to any other books? For general studies, newspapers and textbooks are enough. For optional subjects, there are particular books which have to be referred. So as and when you will be in the final phase of your preparation, at that time, those books have to be referred. Right now, there is no need for going into those details because you are still a school student. Yes, as far as age restriction is concerned, the minimum age is 21 years to become eligible for appearing in the exam. And for general candidate, maximum age is 32 years. And for reserve category candidates, the maximum age is 35 years. Achha, so now one question has come, very good question. Sir, 5 to 6 years back, more number of students used to take French, Sanskrit as one of the language, avoiding Tamil language paper because Tamil it is difficult to get highest marks and in turn total marks in the public examinations. My personal observation is that language papers are more scoring compared to conventional papers like geography, history, public administration. So if you are good in Tamil language, go with Tamil language as optional subject. There is no problem in that. Tamil language is a very good optional. Telugu, Malayalam, these are very good optional. If you have a good command over your regional language, you can go with Tamil. There is no problem in that. Sanskrit is a technical language like mathematics. You can get 100 out of 100 in Sanskrit, but you will not get 100 out of 100 in Tamil. So Sanskrit has that benefit, but I don't find people in this age having that good Sanskrit. So if you are good at Sanskrit, you can go with Sanskrit also, but Tamil is a very good optional. You can go with Tamil, and it is very high scoring optional also. So if no other questions are there, then Rudra sir, I think we can end the session, and I will be very helpful if in future there is any requirement to contribute further, sir.
தேங்க்ஸ் அமன். திரு அமன் சர்மா அவர்கள் வந்து உங்களுக்கு சிவில் சர்வீஸ் எக்ஸாம் பற்றி விளக்கம் கொடுத்தாரு. ஸோ அதெல்லாம் அது எப்படி ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லி சொன்னார். ஸோ இப்போ வந்து நீங்கள் டிகிரி படிக்கும்போது ராகுல் அல்வால் சார் கூட அதான் சொன்னார், டிகிரி படிக்கும்போது தான் ஆக்சுவல் ப்ரிப்பரேஷன் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகும்னு சொல்லி. இருந்தாலும் நீங்கள் வந்து இப்போ படிக்கும்போது உங்கள் பாட புத்தகம் படிக்கும்போது அந்த நோக்கத்தில் படிக்கலாம். ஸோ நீங்கள் சில கொஸ்டின் வந்து எப்படி கேட்பதுன்னு லாஸ்ட் டைம் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணேன். அந்த நோக்கத்தில் நீங்கள் படிக்க ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். ஸோ வெவ்வேறு விதமாக நீங்கள் யோசிக்கலாம். ஸோ யூ கேன் ஸ்டார்ட் லுக்கிங் அட் யுவர் டெக்ஸ்ட் புக்ஸ் இன் அ டிஃப்ரெண்ட் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ். So basically whatever you read may not be helpful unless you identify and you are ready or you are prepared to answer the question in different possible ways. So last time also I showed one example of the question which was asked last year. So which are the wildlife sanctuaries which are situated on the banks of river Kaveri? So you might not have thought in that line. So you might have studied that Annamalai, the Mudumalai sanctuary is in Tamil Nadu, and Nagarvale Park is in Karnataka. Papikondal Reserve is in Andhra, like that. But when you look at it in a different perspective, so you may not be able to answer those questions. So andamari ninge yosiknu. So you need to relate the information in different angles and prepare yourself. So you need not prepare for civil services per se at this level, but you can look at the questions in different perspective and from different angles. What kind of questions may be asked? So typically board la andha mari keka maatadu, direct question irukum. So adile problem enna, you may not be able to think in that fashion. So if you start cultivating thinking in that fashion, it will be quite helpful. So many a time we miss thinking from that angle. So today I was reading one interesting article on Kuwait. So Kuwaitல அவங்க ஒரு இதுக்கு முன்னாடி சவுதி அரேபியன் ஆயில் மினிஸ்டர் ஒருத்தர் இருந்தார். அவங்க பேர் வந்து அஹமத் ஜாக்கி யமானின்னு சொல்லி. So he has told that stone age didn't end for lack of stone, and the oil age will end long before the world runs out of oil. என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, ஸ்டோன் ஏஜ் வந்து ஸ்டோன் ஏஜ்க்கு அப்புறம் ஐரன் மெட்டல் ஏஜ் எல்லாம் வந்துச்சு. ஸ்டோன் இல்லாதனால ஸ்டோன் ஏஜ் எண்ட் ஆகலாம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, மாற்றம் வந்ததுனால ஸ்டோன் ஏஜ் முடிஞ்சது. ஸோ அதே மாதிரி ஆயில், இப்போ ஆயில் ஏஜ் கூட ஆயில் எக்ஸாஸ்ட் ஆனதுக்கப்புறம் ஆயில் ஏஜ் எண்ட் ஆக போகிறது இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொன்னால், ஸோ நம்ம ஆயில் யூஸ் பண்ணுறது வந்து ஆயில் முடிஞ்ச பிறகு நம்ம ஸ்டாப் பண்ண மாட்டோம். டெக்னாலஜி சேஞ்ச் வந்தால், மாற்றம் வந்தால் கண்டிப்பாக நம்ம மாறுறோம். ஸோ இது எதுக்கு சொல்லலைன்னா, நம்ம யோசிக்க மாட்டோம். ஸோ யோசிக்கணும், வெவ்வேறு ஆங்கிளில் நம்ம யோசிக்கணும். அது சொல்கிறதுக்காக தான் நான் இந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்கிறேன். இப்போது எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் வெஹிக்கல்ஸ் வர்றது. ஸோ எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் வெஹிக்கல்ஸ் வர்றதுனால என்ன ஆகுதும், மக்கள் மாறிடுவார். ஸோ முன்னாடி ஃபோன் வந்து ஃபீச்சர் ஃபோன் இருந்தது, நார்மல் ஃபோன். ஸ்மார்ட் ஃபோன் வந்துச்சு. ஸ்மார்ட் ஃபோன் வந்ததுனால மக்கள் ஃபீச்சர் ஃபோன் விட்டுட்டார். ஸோ அதே மாதிரி மாற்றம் வந்தது கண்டிப்பாக இருப்போம். ஸோ அதே மாதிரி நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு கொஸ்டின் வந்து ஒரு தகவல் வந்து எந்தெந்த ஆங்கிளில் நீங்கள் யோசிக்கலாம், எந்தெந்த ஆங்கிளில் நீங்கள் ஆன்சர் பண்ணலாம்னு சொல்லி நீங்கள் கற்றுக்கணும். ஸோ தட் இஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். அனாலிட்டிக்கல் அண்ட் கிரிட்டிக்கல் வே ஆஃப் லுக்கிங் அட் த திங்ஸ், தட் இஸ் மோர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இப்போ கோவிட் பற்றி கூட அவங்க சொல்லும்போது சொன்னார். ஸோ கோவிட் ஆனால் வெறும் கோவிட் பற்றி மட்டும் படிக்கக்கூடாது. ஸோ கோவிட் வந்து ஒரு வைரல் டிசீஸ். ஸோ வேறு விதமான வைரல் டிசீசஸ் எது எது இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பார்க்கணும். ஸோ கோவிட் வந்து எப்படி பறக்குதோ, காற்று மூலமாக பறக்குது. ஸோ அப்படின்னா காற்று மூலமா என்னென்ன டிசீசஸ் பறக்கலாம் அந்த மாதிரி பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நீங்கள் வெவ்வேறு ஆங்கிளில் திங்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கணும். அப்படி திங்க் பண்ணால் தான் நீங்கள் எஃபெக்டிவாக நீங்கள் ஆன்சர் பண்றதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. ஸோ இப்போலேருந்து நீங்க அந்த தன்மை நீங்க இது இன்கிரைன் பண்ணிக்கணும். ஸோ இஃப் யூ ஸ்டார்ட் இன்கிரைனிங் ஆல் திஸ் திங் ஃப்ரம் திஸ் period onwards, it will be helpful for you in the future. So I thank Rahul Alwal sir and Aman Sharma for this quite interesting orientation session. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.